All right, Gabe, start us off.
Coach, what have you seen from them on tape, especially since Ta'amu has come in at quarterback?
No, yeah, I think they haven't missed a beat. This is the first thing you see. You know what kind of player Shea is for that program. But he's come in. And their system is one that creates. You've got to have discipline in the back end, eye discipline, because of the motion, because of they do a great job in their RPO game, but they also do a great job in play fakes, screen and goes, things that are going to take their shots deep. And he's been able to operate that system at a high level of scoring a lot of points. They've got excellent talent on the perimeter, and with the three receivers that have been effective all year. A.J. Brown's been is a big guy. I mean, he's not just 6'1", he's 220 pounds, so he can play outside and inside. He's tough to tackle. He can get down the field on you, and so when they utilize him in the slot and utilize their RPO stuff, it's tough on the second level, to play the run, and then the short, quick passing game that comes out of that with a guy that turns into a running back quickly with the ball in his hands, and then and the big guys outside, and I think the guy that's really kind of caught my eye last night watching tape is Dawson Knox. He's kind of sneaking around in there in the middle of the field. And he takes off running with the ball, and you're like, that guy looks pretty fast, and he's 240, 50 pounds in the middle. So they've got some weapons on the perimeter, and at quarterback they haven't missed a beat.
To the left, Cease, and then down front, Brent.
Kevin, Kirk had a long return last week, but you also gave up 2 returns, blocked PAT, the punts last week. Any thought on the hiccups lately while you're having a couple of
the first PAT was bad snap. So that wasn't on the kicker. We had a blocked punt, but we've shored that up. We knew coming into this game what kind of returner we were facing. We gave up 2 long ones. One got called back, but overall we've been solid this year in our special teams play. I think particularly throughout the season, we've won games because of our special teams play. I think I've said before, I was a special teams coordinator for a couple of years at Oklahoma. The only time they show that guy on Sunday afternoons is when something goes bad. You don't even notice him. Nobody even talks about what goes on in special teams. They just think it's supposed to happen. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I think we've blocked a lot of kicks this year. We've blocked field goals. We've blocked punts. We've returned kicks for touchdowns. We've made field goals. Overall, we've been pretty good. We're playing some people, a couple different people in there right now, particularly last week to give some guys a break that have been on our coverage units. But I think you'll see our regular guys in there this week on our coverage units because we're back into SEC play. We had I think we had 7 missed tackles in special teams last week. So it wasn't necessarily a breakdown in coverage. We had 7 missed tackles and a bunch of them in the plays that you just talked about, Cease. So we haven't had that all year on special teams coverage. So personnel becomes an issue in that, and there'll be there's some changes in that because we rested a couple guys last week on those coverage units. And quite frankly, we covered more kickoffs than we covered all year in one game, right? So there's some guys running down the field that won't be running down the field in Oxford.
Down front, Brent.
What led to all those kickoffs? Nick Starkel, considering he's a guy who still needs as much game action as possible, how much did you have to resist the urge to trot him back out there in the third quarter to get him those kind of snaps? Here he has already thrown for 416.
You got to balance. Yeah, we had that discussion, but you got to balance that with. And then the question is, if he gets hurt and you're up 40-some points, how do you answer that question, right? I mean, not just to you guys, but to his family. Here's a guy who's battled back and done a lot, and he's getting better and better shape. I think, as I said before, I think some people get confused by being cleared and being ready to really play. And playing at that position, you can watch all the tape you want. We got virtual reality, but when you get out on the field and things happen in real time, and you've got to react to those things and throw and complete balls accurately, that takes practice. And to your point, yeah, you got to balance that. And I think he's a guy that really now, after about 3 or 4 weeks of practice, is starting to get back. It's different with a young guy than a veteran guy. If you got a guy that like Trevor Knight or something like that he gets hurt and he misses 6 weeks and he comes back, his recovery time is going to be different as a player to be successful, just because of his experience. You're talking about a guy who really had only played 2 quarters before he came back and played. So yeah, we've got to get him the reps in practice. You're encouraged by last week, his game reps and his preparation and his accuracy, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to improve on that this week.
Second row, Ben, and then Olin.
Y'all, I guess this year in this recruiting cycle, y'all decided not to go to the transfer market as much as y'all have in years past, and decided to take more first-year players coming out of high school. What was the thought process behind that?
What do you mean? Not take as many?
Like traditionally, like last year, you had a bunch of transfer players on the field across the board starting at different spots.
Right. But that was over the course of time.
Right.
You had Trevor came last year, but 2 years before that is when Keith Ford came.
Right.
So over the course of time, we've taken guys. It wasn't like a 1 year cycle. We've taken my approach to transfers is much like free agency at the next level. So where we have holes or deficiencies in our roster, we have taken an older player and plugged him in there. We signed 29 guys last year. And because of where we were in our depth chart and the quality of the players that we had available to recruit, you weigh that against age. It wasn't like there's guys that didn't want to transfer and come here, but we just felt like the quality of player that we were able to recruit out of high school this year is probably a little bit different. We've gone into the junior college market for obviously we've been successful with that. The 2 offensive linemen to fill holes. We're playing in the NFL. Josh Reynolds. I think you're going to see that with Ratley. But that's over the course of time. Darrell Walker, Justin Evans, right? So, coming into the season in the back end, you don't plan for Donovan Wilson to get hurt. You're looking at 2 older guys in the back end, so you're not in that market. And then what are you looking for up front? Our guys up front are all right. We really kind of lost out on the perimeter we felt good about the guys that we brought in from high school, as opposed to some of the evaluations that we had from some guys that wanted to transfer and some guys in the junior college market.
Over here to Olin, and then to the back, Daryl.
Yeah, Kevin, even when y'all have won in Oxford, it's been y'all have had a hard time. Why do you think it is when you play Ole Miss, especially, that it seems
can't we just win? You know what I mean? It's if we win, it's a hard time. We lose, we lose. Come on.
Well, just like for instance, in 2012, y'all win late. Other games, other opponents like Auburn and Mississippi State, you blow them out.
And we also struggled that year early in the year. We struggled with Louisiana Tech because it was a brand new team.
Well, that's true. But the question is, why do you think that specifically Ole Miss, that you might have had some hard time with them, and a lot of times?
I don't know. I mean, it's I think more and more you see games, I think, that I watch, and then people watch, it's about matchups, you know, and some people match up differently. Styles of play can create issues for different people. So, you know, I don't know what that is. You know, it's I treat every game, you know, as being mutually exclusive. So, you know, there are different guys on the field, even than there were last year. And, you know, we just got to go over there and play well. And, you know, we've got to build off of last week, because I thought across the board, you know, offensively, what we wanted to do in the game, I thought we accomplished that. Knowing what kind of style of defense we were going to face in New Mexico with some odd fronts and some pressures and some things that would be difficult to block, but the second level was going to, you know, we had to throw and catch and make plays, and then hopefully run them out of that and have them change their defensive front. They did not. So we kept doing what we were doing, and we're able to do that. I thought that we adjusted defensively to the triple option in the first half with a different look on defense, and basically took the triple option threat away from them and made them go to a read option situation in the second half, which is the ultimate complement to defense. So the things that we wanted to do going into the game, we were able to do in the first half, particularly with our starters. And so that leads to confidence, which, you know, we want to build on this week.
To the very back, Daryl, then Suzanne.
Coach, do you feel like that Ole Miss's offensive style has changed any with Phil Longo as their offensive coordinator now?
You know, I don't know. I think the basic principles of what they do, what they have done, are the same. Just like I talked about earlier, you know, it runs through the quarterback with their RPO game, but they've got, you know, exceptional talent on the perimeter and put pressure on people to do that with coverage and, you know, and play action and run pass options, run screen options. You see, you know, they're handing the ball off, and there's receivers running all kinds of different routes all the time. So they're forcing you to, you know, be able to play, and they got a athletic line and some good backs, and so they're forcing you to play assignment football and keep your eyes where you need to be. You know, if you're playing man-to-man, you need to play man-to-man. If you're playing zone, you need to read your keys and respect what you see, and not guess and not get your eyes out of whack, and do your job. And so from that standpoint, they really haven't changed that much philosophically.
Second row, Suzanne, and back left.
Kevin, I know with quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, it's important to have success. And Nick had a great first half. How did his demeanor change, maybe from before the game to after, to yesterday to today? Because since we're not around him, I mean, can you describe how he was?
No, I think he's been the same. I think you know, he. You got to remember, we flew across the country, and he started the first game of the year. You know, and yeah, I really don't see his demeanor changing that much. You know, you watched him when he was injured. He was always involved as soon as he could be, as soon as they let him back on the sideline. And he was always in the sideline. He was always with Kellen, always talking with our offense. You know, so it wasn't a shock to everybody's system that he was back, you know, around and talking to people. So I don't know how much his demeanor has changed. That's the kind of guy he is. You know, he's kind of a playful guy, you know, fun-loving guy, and so he's, you know, I'd be more concerned if it went the other way, Suzanne, that he got quiet, and, you know, I'd be worried about that. But, you know, he likes that. He's got energy, you know, and he's working at it, and he knows he needs to get better. And but, you know, certainly, as I said, not just for him, but I think what I just talked about as far as game plan wise for this team to operate like they did in the first half. I think it gave a lot of people some confidence that they needed this time of year.
Go to the back left.
Hey, Coach. Starkle, obviously, great game, 416 yards, 4 touchdowns. Talk about how the defense has maybe, had made him catch up to speed after missing some time. Because obviously great performance and, going up against the top-notch defense in practice.
Well, we have some live periods, not live, but our ones-on-ones, not as much as last week because of the scheme that we saw. We'd have to change everything we run on offense to show what New Mexico did or does, and defensively. But we've carded those periods by drawing cards and putting our good guys against good guys to get some team speed. But we also have to have more reps against those looks with our scout team. So, yeah, I mean, we've got competitive periods at practice to try to help that, and not just for him, but for our players across the board, that we're seeing that kind of speed on the perimeter, that we're seeing those kind of big people interiorly on both sides. But I think more than anything else, it's the reps that against the looks that he's going to face on Saturdays, and I've said this before. It's not just him. He got some help Saturday. The Ratley's one-handed catch, and you go back and look at some of those plays that looked maybe routine. Ratley makes a one-handed touchdown catch. Christian Kirk wrestles the ball away and runs away from a guy. These weren't just all great throws. There were some plays made for him, and that's going to happen on a night like that. To have those kind of numbers, it's got to be a combination of everything and protection too. So everybody's got to continue to get better and make plays and do those things. And when you have that, yeah, the quarterback becomes the catalyst, but everybody else has got to play at that level too, and we did Saturday night.
Go Ben, Travis, and Gabe. You'll wrap us up.
Kevin, if you split one of these next 2 games, y'all will be plus 500 during your 6 years here at A&M. Would that mean anything to you personally to be one of the few guys to go over 500 in SEC play?
Yeah, I mean, you I said before, Ben, you look back at the end of the year and you think about things like that. Right now, I'm thinking about this week and trying to win this game. Those kind of thoughts and reflections and things like that. That's post-season. You can't put the cart before the horse, and so in order to do anything like that, you want to take care of business this week.
Down front, Travis, then Gabe, wrap us up.
Coach, in what ways has Jake been an asset to Nick through this time, and has Jake been able to practice much? And then also, you mentioned Armani, kind of almost coming to tears when he came out. How special was it? How did it rank with you that night to be able to get him out there at the end? Well,
which one you want first, Jake? Yeah, and we want to get Jake in. Obviously, as I said Saturday night, you saw him throw that one ball. Why he's not playing. He can't hardly. We went 7-8 weeks where he couldn't throw. He didn't practice, and so that's why the first series we handed it off every time, and he threw one and completed it. I was happy to see that. Even though it wasn't a first down, he did get a completion for the last throw of, certainly the one on Kyle Field, but it's good to get him in there. I mean, he's been a great team guy. He's been great with these young guys, and it's been a struggle for him, I know personally, just from a health standpoint of not being able to help and not being able to be the guy that he probably wanted to be this year, and that's physically, and that can weigh on you mentally. But there's never been a time where he's come into this building and been down or by himself. He's always been around those other guys, trying to help them, talking with them, and that's what maturity and experience will do for you. What was the other one?
Armani.
How has he been an asset to Starkville?
Oh, that's what I mean. That's what he's done. I mean, he's those guys have been together all the time. You see them, pictures in practice, but you see them during the game. They're not scattered everywhere. They're all talking. They're talking about what they see. They're all on the same page. But I think it's been, deep down inside, it had to be frustrating for Jake, just from a physical standpoint. But like I said, he's never shown that. And if anything, he's shown a real teammate mentality with not just the quarterbacks, but everybody on the team.
Was the follow-up Armani, or are you good? Oh, no. You're good? All right, Gabe, wrap us up.
Finally, Coach Charles Oliver, seems like he's had a nice year. He's been out the last couple of weeks. How important would it be to get him back this week? Do you have an update on him?
It would be nice to have him.
There we go. All right.
Sometimes. Usually when they're out for a while, but it would be nice to have him. So we'll see where he is. He's been playing hard, and he gives us some flexibility, and even in special teams, he was doing a lot there too, and so he's been out, but it would be nice to have him this week, particularly with some of these bigger receivers we're going to see this week, because he is a pretty good sized guy and with long arms and can run and physical. So it would be nice to have him this week. All right.